The orbital station gleamed against the blackness of space, a silver jewel circling a scarred planet far below. It was a hub of technology, commerce, and entertainment, and it thrummed with the energy of 1,000 different species. Ships docked and undocked continuously, while hovering platforms ferried cargo, spectators, and athletes between arenas, workshops, and the luxurious observation decks. For the aliens who dominated this station, life was a delicate balance of skill, status, and performance. Humans, however, were rare and often dismissed as clumsy, fragile, and outdated. Lara had never cared about status. She preferred tools to trophies, machinery to accolades. Her hands, though slender and unassuming, were precise, capable of fixing problems that even sophisticated alien engineers could not solve. She had learned her craft on Earth, repairing machines in her small workshop, long before she had ever dreamed of leaving her planet. Now she floated through the station corridors, her toolkit strapped to her waist, her mind focused entirely on the task ahead. The announcement had come just hours ago, a critical failure in one of the alien star players' exosuits. The malfunction was more than mechanical, it was dangerous. If not fixed immediately, it could ruin the match and endanger the player. Lara had been called upon because she was one of the few humans with hands steady enough for the job and nerves calm enough to face the stress. She arrived at the arena, a vast chamber of anti-gravity fields and luminous panels. The floor was invisible, replaced by zones of floating energy that allowed the players to dart in 3 dimensions, twisting and flipping as they chased the ball. She took a deep breath. The arena was impressive, even by alien standards. Every corner shimmered with light, every panel hummed with power, and every move of the players was calculated and graceful. Lara's attention, however, was not on the spectacle. It was on the exosuit, suspended in a repair bay. Its design was intricate, sleek alloy plates, delicate servo motors, and a complex network of sensors that monitored every movement. She ran her fingers along the circuits, inspecting for signs of damage. "Impressive, isn't it?" a voice asked. Lara looked up to see Commander Zyra, the official overseeing the match. Zyra was tall, with metallic skin that gleamed like polished steel and eyes that glowed faintly purple. She exuded confidence, power, and an arrogance that only a species used to dominance could carry. Lara nodded politely. "Yes, very precise engineering. You will repair it quickly, I assume," Zyra said. There was no question in the tone, only expectation. "I will do my best," Lara replied, her voice calm. Time was short. The player was waiting, pacing nervously, adjusting their anti-gravity boots with shaking hands. Lara worked methodically, checking each joint, each sensor, each microcircuit. She noticed something subtle. The alignment of the main servos was slightly off, a miscalculation the aliens had overlooked. It was small, almost insignificant, but it could make a difference in the game. She corrected it, adjusted the calibration, and rewired a few connections to enhance the system's responsiveness. Minutes later, the exosuit hummed to life, responding perfectly to her touch. The player, initially anxious, moved in it experimentally, and then smiled, amazed. "I've never felt anything like this," they said. Zyra's eyes narrowed slightly. She had not expected humans to perform so well in a mechanical capacity, let alone exceed her expectations. She studied Lara with interest. "You've done well," she said finally. "Perhaps you could do more. Why not play?" Lara blinked. Play? The thought had never crossed her mind. "I'm sorry, sir, I can't play ball," she said. Her refusal was polite but firm. Zyra raised an eyebrow, incredulous. "You refuse? Do you understand the opportunity you are declining? Humans rarely enter these arenas. Most of your species would fail spectacularly. And yet you have hands precise enough to repair the suits of champions. Why hesitate?" "I'm not trained," Lara said simply. "I can fix things. I cannot compete." The aliens around her laughed softly. Some whispered among themselves, amused by the human's modesty or perhaps her lack of ambition. To them, humans were not athletes, not warriors. They were mechanics, laborers, tools, not competitors. But Lara did not feel embarrassed. She felt something else, curiosity. As she watched the aliens, their movements perfect, the way they used the anti-gravity fields to twist, spin, and accelerate, she noticed tiny imperfections in the arena, minor inconsistencies in energy flow, the way the ball reacted differently in certain zones, the way the players' suits responded to sudden maneuvers. It was all invisible to them, natural to them, but visible to her trained eye. She smiled quietly to herself. There was potential here, not just to play but to surprise them all. Zyra, clearly irritated by Lara's refusal, left her with a warning. Do not embarrass yourself or your species. If you change your mind, step into the arena. Otherwise, remain in the shadows. She moved on, her metallic stride echoing, leaving Lara alone with her thoughts. The game began without her. The aliens moved with grace and precision, the ball arcing through zero-gravity paths in ways that would be impossible for humans to predict. Spectators cheered, the atmosphere electric. Lara watched from a maintenance platform unseen, her mind mapping every movement, every pattern, every flaw. As the game progressed, she made careful observations. She noticed how the arena's gravity fields could be influenced by subtle adjustments, how the exosuits reacted to slight changes in energy flow, how momentum could be redirected if approached from an angle the aliens never considered. She began to see the arena not just as a place of sport but as a system, mechanical, predictable, manipulable. Hours passed. Lara made small adjustments when no one was looking, shifting panels slightly, tuning energy conduits, realigning minor circuits. Each change was subtle, invisible to the untrained eye, yet enough to alter the dynamics of the arena just slightly, enough to make a difference. By the time the aliens noticed anything unusual, Lara was ready. She slipped into the arena quietly, blending into the shadows of the floating platforms. Her tools were ready, not to repair, but to manipulate, to control the environment in ways the aliens could not anticipate. The ball moved erratically now, just slightly enough to cause confusion. Players misjudged trajectories, collided with floating panels, and reacted too slowly to the sudden shifts. The audience gasped, unsure whether the anomalies were part of the game or accidents. Lara smiled. They thought they were masters of this arena. They had no idea a human mechanic, someone they considered weak and untrained, could understand the system better than they could. Commander Zyra noticed the irregularities and frowned. She approached the source of the interference, only to see Lara standing in the shadows, quietly observing, her hands empty but ready. Zyra's expression shifted from suspicion to disbelief. Humans were never supposed to do more than repair. They were not supposed to challenge, to manipulate, to control. Lara did not move. She waited, patient and calm, as the game continued around her. Every twist, every unpredictable motion of the ball was now subtly guided by her understanding of the arena's mechanics. She had not yet played herself, but she had already begun to rewrite the rules of the game. The alien players grew frustrated. Their movements, once flawless, became less predictable, their confidence shaken. They could sense the change but could not locate its source. The audience, initially laughing at what they thought were mistakes, grew tense, watching closely. Something extraordinary was happening, though no one yet knew what. Lara's mind raced with possibilities. If she chose to enter the game now, she could use the subtle manipulations she had made to her advantage. She could move with precision, controlling the ball not just with skill, but with the arena itself. She could turn her knowledge into power, her intellect into victory. Yet she hesitated. She did not want to be reckless. Every adjustment she had made required careful timing, delicate balance. One wrong move and the chaos could backfire, harming the players or herself. but the thought of proving that humans were capable of more than the aliens imagined, that her species could rise above expectation through intelligence and creativity, drove her forward. The final moments of the first half approached. The aliens' mistakes became more frequent, their frustration evident in their movements. Lara's adjustments had created openings, opportunities for extraordinary maneuvers. She watched them carefully, calculating, anticipating. Then, without a sound, she stepped forward, tools in hand not as weapons but as extensions of her mind. The aliens noticed her presence and a hush fell over the arena. Commander Zyra's eyes widened in surprise. "A human," she whispered, incredulous. "Here." Lara nodded, calm and confident. She did not speak. She did not need to. Every eye in the arena, every gaze of the audience was now upon her. The moment of truth had arrived. The quiet, underestimated mechanic, dismissed and overlooked, was ready to reveal her surprise. The arena seemed to hold its breath as she prepared to act, the tension electric. The aliens did not yet know what she would do, only that the human was no longer in the shadows. And Lara, for the first time, smiled fully, a mixture of anticipation, pride, and quiet amusement. The game was about to change forever. The arena was silent, a strange stillness settling over the floating platforms and glowing panels. Every alien player froze, the ball hovering midair, as Commander Zyra's glowing eyes bore into Lara. She could feel their doubt, their disbelief, but also a flicker of curiosity, something they had not expected from a human. The humans, they assumed, were weak, incapable, and easily overlooked. Lara intended to prove them wrong. She took a deep breath and stepped forward. Her tools, small devices with wires and sensors, were not weapons but instruments of control. Every adjustment she had made in the past hours was now part of a larger plan. The arena, previously a domain dominated by alien grace and speed, would become an extension of her mind, a tool she could manipulate to outwit, outmaneuver, and outplay them. The ball shifted slightly, as if sensing her presence. The first player darted toward it, expecting the usual predictable path, but the ball moved unexpectedly, curving in a way that defied instinct. The alien's precise reflexes misfired and he tumbled past, colliding lightly with a floating platform. The audience gasped. Some laughed nervously, assuming it was a fluke, but Lara knew it was only the beginning. She moved with care, each step calculated. Her hands manipulated small controls embedded in the arena, subtle adjustments to energy fields, gravity nodes, and the anti-gravity panels. The arena was now a dynamic machine, responding to her commands. The aliens had never faced an opponent who could control not just themselves, but the entire playing field. Commander Zyra's expression darkened. She signaled her top players to regroup, their movements sharp and precise, honed through years of competition. Yet no matter how hard they tried, the ball slipped unpredictably past them. Every jump, twist, and spin was countered before it even began, not by raw speed, but by Lara's clever manipulation of the environment. She could see their frustration building. The players were highly trained, their reflexes unmatched among their kind. But they had never encountered a human who could anticipate, adapt, and influence the arena itself. They had relied on their superiority, their agility, their instincts. Lara was proving that human intelligence, patience, and observation could surpass brute skill. The audience was in shock. Whispers spread like wildfire through the observation decks. "Is she controlling the arena?" one alien spectator asked. "Impossible," said another. "Humans cannot do that," said a third, disbelief coloring every word. But the results were undeniable. Every move the aliens made was countered, every strategy disrupted, and the ball seemed to follow Lara's invisible hand. She moved closer to the center of the arena. Every adjustment she made was precise, timed to perfection. She could see how the aliens calculated their positions, how they relied on patterns and repetition. Lara introduced unpredictability, bending the rules without breaking them, using the arena's own energy fields as extensions of her perception. One player lunged at the ball, confident in their speed, but Lara anticipated the angle. She shifted a node subtly, altering the gravity field in that sector. The ball veered midair, spinning and curving, and the alien crashed into a floating panel, recovering just in time to watch the human manipulate the next play. Commander Zyra moved herself now, stepping into the arena. She had to confront this anomaly directly. "Human," she said, her voice echoing across the chamber, "step forward, face me in the arena. Let us see if you can compete without the machine." Lara did not flinch. She knew the arena was part of her advantage, but she also knew her own body, her reflexes, and her mind could match more than they expected. She nodded slightly and activated her exosuit, a simple model, light and functional, not flashy like the alien ones. It amplified her strength minimally, but more importantly, it allowed her movements to integrate seamlessly with her manipulations of the arena. The game resumed. Lara moved in ways that seemed impossible. She floated, twisted, and propelled herself with perfect timing, her exosuit responding to her as if it were part of her body. Every adjustment in the arena amplified her actions, allowing her to move faster than even the most agile alien. The ball became her instrument, following paths calculated in milliseconds, unpredictable yet controlled. The alien players tried to adapt. They coordinated, signaling each other with flashing lights and hand movements. They calculated trajectories, predicted angles, and anticipated spins. Yet for every plan they executed, Lara had already accounted for it. She manipulated the arena's subtle currents, using them to accelerate or redirect the ball, turning the aliens' own momentum against them. Commander Zyra was impressed despite herself. She had faced many challengers, but none had such a grasp of the environment, none had such clarity of thought in the middle of chaos. She tried to push harder, relying on raw speed and power, but Lara's intelligence outpaced her instinct. Every charge, every dive was foiled not by strength, but by human ingenuity. The crowd was on the edge of their seats. Spectators had never witnessed such a display. The humans, usually dismissed as weak and fragile, were now dominating the arena through intellect and precision. Whispers of astonishment spread. "She is amazing," one alien said. "The human is rewriting the rules," said another. Lara noticed Commander Zyra's attempts to regain control. The alien was skilled, strong, and highly trained, but Zyra relied on reflexes and intuition. Lara relied on observation, calculation, and clever manipulation. She began to anticipate Zyra's movements, guiding the ball along paths designed to trap, confuse, and challenge. Every strike and deflection was precise, and yet graceful. As the final moments approached, Lara prepared her signature move. She had been setting it up throughout the match, using small, unnoticed adjustments to the arena to create an opportunity. She calculated the perfect angle, the exact timing, the precise interaction of the energy fields. It was a trick play the aliens would never see coming. Zyra lunged toward the ball, expecting a standard interception. Lara activated the final sequence. Panels shifted subtly, energy fields redirected, and the ball curved in a path that seemed to defy all logic. Zyra reacted instinctively, but her movement was just a fraction too slow. The ball slipped past her, following the trajectory Lara had designed, and soared into the goal zone. The arena erupted. Spectators cheered, gasped, and shouted. Aliens who had dominated the sport for generations watched in disbelief as a human, untrained in physical competition but a master of mechanics and strategy, scored the winning point. Lara floated calmly, her chest rising and falling steadily, her expression serene. She had proven something more than victory. She had proven the potential of humans, the power of intellect, and the value of ingenuity. Commander Zyra landed heavily on the platform, her glowing eyes fixed on Lara. She studied the human, her expression unreadable. Finally, she nodded slowly. "You have done something no human, no alien, no player has ever done," she said. "You have not just played the game, you have changed it. The arena, the sport, it is no longer the same." Lara smiled faintly. "I did not play to change the game," she said quietly. "I played to show what humans can do when we apply our minds." The aliens, previously skeptical and dismissive, approached her. Some extended mechanical hands in respect, others merely observed, awed and curious. The audience, initially doubtful, now erupted in chants and cheers. The story of the human mechanic who had turned the tide of an alien sport spread quickly, broadcasting across the station, and soon the galaxy. Lara did not linger. She had proven her point and wanted no fame. She slipped back to her workshop, her mind already turning to new challenges, new machines, new problems to solve. But the arena remembered her. The aliens remembered her. And somewhere, deep in the heart of the galaxy, humans began to be seen not as weak, but as clever, adaptable, and dangerous in ways no one had anticipated. In the quiet of her workshop, Lara allowed herself a small, satisfied smile. The humans had been underestimated again, as they so often were. But this time the galaxy had seen the truth. Intelligence, ingenuity, and observation could outmatch speed, strength, and tradition. The human spirit, quiet and unassuming, had triumphed. And somewhere above the war-torn planet, the orbital station shimmered in the starlight, a silent witness to a new era, one where humans would no longer be dismissed. They had arrived not with weapons, not with brute force, but with mind, skill, and the audacity to challenge the impossible. The game was over. The humans had won, and the galaxy would never forget it.